Association in River State urges government at all levels to address growing brain drain crisis. Residents of Ngeni Kingdom in Ahoda West LGA of River State expressed fears over continued flood in the area. Nigeria Senate to begin screening of 7 ministerial nominees by President Bola Tinubu. And on the foreign scene, North Korea deploys 10,000 troops to train in Russia amid NATO warning. Details in a bit. The River State chapter of the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, has called on government at all levels to enhance remuneration, provide security and improve working conditions to address the health sector's growing brain drain crisis. Speaking during a media briefing to mark the opening of the 2024 Physicians Week, themed Ensuring Universal Applicability of Remuneration, the panacea to talent retention in the health system, NMA State's Chairman Dr. Tamunokuro Diamond highlighted that Nigeria loses approximately 2,000 doctors annually to other countries, leaving the domestic health workforce critically diminished. The NMA urged the government to implement measures that not only ensure the security of healthcare workers, but also foster a safer environment for all citizens, noting that doctors cannot perform optimally without addressing these foundational challenges.
Every year since 2019, this nation loses at least 2,000 doctors to foreign nations. These are not only young doctors who are fresh medical graduates, and they leave behind a workforce that further impoverishes the health sector. The key push factors that we have identified in brain drain include insecurity, suboptimal working conditions, and inadequate remunerations. We therefore call on governments at all levels to wake up to their key responsibility of providing adequate security, not just for health workers, but for the entire citizenry. No doctor can function optimally in environments where he or she is still being kidnapped for ransom, harassed by armed men, assaulted. The lives of Nigerian doctors matter.
Dr. Diamond also stressed that fair remuneration is more than just salary, adding that it is a recognition of doctors' contributions and a driver for excellence in practice and research. He commended Governor Siminalayi Fubara for recent initiatives to improve the state's health sector, including the employment of 2,000 health workers, promoting health workers, and settling outstanding residency training grants for doctors in the state. The NMA expressed confidence that Governor Fubara will in no time implement the Consolidated Medical Salary Structure, CONMES, which will further enhance health workforce retention in River State.
We wish to commend His Excellency, the Executive Governor, for approving the promotion of doctors in the state and the payment of outstanding residency training grants for resident doctors in the state. We will, however, not fail to remind the government of River State on the need to regularize this promotion, as well as grants to doctors and resident doctors that work in the state civil service. The NMA is very confident that the people-friendly government of His Excellency will in no time commence the payment of the Consolidated Medical Salary Scheme, otherwise called COMES. This is a low-hanging fruit that the Excellency and his government can and should in no time implement.
As flood continues to ravage communities in River State, increasing fears have been expressed of a possible outbreak of cholera and scarcity of food security in the state. The people of Ngeni Kingdom in Ahoda West local government area of River State, where flood is currently being experienced, cried that their areas have been taken over by water, leading to the destruction of septic tanks and properties worth millions of naira. An elder in the kingdom, Abeba Amoa, in an interview with Today FM's Sandra Kenneth, narrated how they drink unclean water due to the flood. Amoa, who said the water, which has been contaminated, destroyed their fish, called on government at all levels to not only focus on the provision of IDP camps, but do more to ensure that the health of the people is intact during and after the season.
Fishes are dying every day in the Ngene River. The reason is that the flood water is highly contaminated. The water in the process of rising succeeded in destroying plants and animals. This got decayed and created a toxic environment within the water mass. Before this development, some villagers drink from the river water, but now they can no longer drink from the river. Those that fetched water from neighboring boreholes have also been denied that opportunity, as majority of those boreholes have become submerged by the flood. Water therefore has become a scarce commodity in Ngene land. It is therefore necessary that government should adequately plan ahead to contain the challenges of not only today, but months ahead, as to mitigate the sufferings of the Ngene people.
On his part, a commercial farmer in the area, Levinus Esara, lamented that his acres of land with crops were destroyed, while some were harvested prematurely.
It is this flood that draws me back home because of the devastation of flood in our community. Right now, for over 2 weeks, we have been working tirelessly to uproot our crops that has been overtaken by flood. In fact, talking of the farmland, there is nowhere one can lay hand on. Everywhere is flooded. Our cassava, our yams, every crop has been uprooted with force. And this thing is going to spell doom in our subsequent years. Now, a crop that you don't even expect to harvest now prematurely, and you are harvesting, there is no building that is secured. Every building is underwater.
Also, a woman from Ikodi community expressed worry that they were trapped in the area without any means of transportation to evacuate residents.
We are suffering for this flood. We don't have anything, no movement. Everywhere is filled with water in the Ikodi here. When you want to go outside, you will go with canoe. Otherwise, you can't go outside. To go near the neighboring village itself is a tug of war. The road that we are managing to Ikodi is filled with water. No way from Ikodi to Paraki. So we are suffering. May government help us with this our roads.
It is imperative to note that while the government at all levels continue to provide IDP camps for affected victims, there is need for issues of cholera, waterborne diseases and food security to be put in check, as those affected most are farmers who supply common foods like gari, palm oil, plantain to other parts of the state. A man identified as Samuel Okere has been shot dead, while a businessman identified as Sonny Onwenze has been abducted by gunmen suspected to be kidnappers around an estate within the Army Range axis of Igbo-Eche in Eche local government area of River State. Today FM's correspondent gathered that the kidnapped victim, Onwenze, a father of 4 children, deals on scrap metals in Mile 3 building material market, while Okere was a generator mechanic who hailed from Ofe community in Omuma local government area of the state. Speaking in a telephone interview with Today FM, Peace Ulaku Samuel, who is the wife of late Samuel Okere, said her husband returned from work and after some domestic work decided to take a walk around the environment without clothes on his body and never returned. Peace explained that less than 5 minutes after her husband stepped out of the house, she heard gunshots in the street next to theirs, and when they went in search of her husband the next day, his remains were recovered in an undeveloped site around the neighborhood. An incident which she said happened same time their neighbor was abducted.
He came back and I told him to pump water. That was around past 7. After pumping water, he objected without wearing clothes. He told me that let him just throw land. I said, come and eat. He said that I know that he doesn't like eating without bathing. He called one of the kids to go and put water in the bedroom for him that he's coming. So it's not up to 5 minutes. I heard a gunshot. I heard another one. I told my children, oh yeah, let's enter inside. Maybe your daddy is hiding wherever he is. I started calling his line. At that initial time, the line was ringing. Nobody picked. So let's go. So we started near our house. Look around, we did not see. The next plot of land there, close to us. We entered there. We now saw the cause.
Today FM reports that while the River State Police is yet to confirm the incident, the kidnappers of Sonny Onwenze have established contact with the family, and the corpse of the deceased has been deposited at the mortuary in Omuma local government area. A group in the Niger Delta region, the Niger Delta Development Force (NDDF), has warned the President Bola Tinubu-led federal government not to yield to the antics of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) Nyesom Wike to allegedly use Abuja courts to seize allocations meant for the 23 local government councils in Rivers State to satisfy his personal ambitions. The group, which gave the warning, threatened to shut down oil facilities and installations in the region should any judge in the country, particularly Abuja, use the court system to stop revenue allocations to the 23 LGAs with democratically elected officials, in line with the judgment of the Supreme Court of the land. The group also warned the Tinubu-led federal government not to resurrect the restiveness, agitations and militancy former Presidents Umaru Yar'Adua and Goodluck Jonathan fought so hard to end through the amnesty program. In a statement by its spokesman, Justin Alabraba, the group also threatened that any court in Abuja that denies LGAs in River State their statutory allocations will be met with devastating destruction of strategic oil installations across the region. Alabraba said leaders of the region have been raising alarm and cautioning Wike's enablers to rein in on him to halt the assault on the state and the government of Siminalayi Fubara. He reminded President Tinubu that any attempt to destabilize River State will spiral into serious destabilization of the entire Niger Delta, saying River State is the headquarters of the region and crude oil and gas production in the region will suffer unprecedented suffocation if any untoward judgment is delivered against the state. The statement, however, insisted that the judge's actions and body language have since sold her out as a judicial officer ready and willing to act in an unprofessional manner by giving into the whims and caprices of desperate and self-serving politicians. The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, says his party will soon take over the leadership of River State. Ganduje said the River State chapter of the APC would be rebuilt and repositioned to establish a stronghold in the state. The APC national chairman, who said this when the 2023 governorship candidates of the Action Alliance, AA Dawari George, defected to the party, highlighted APC's commitment to embracing diverse interests while ensuring fairness. He described George as a big fish and commended his political acumen, expressing confidence in his ability to strengthen the party's influence. He further welcomed George and assured him that a robust structure will be established to accommodate him and other returning members. Ganduje's declaration comes amid the political struggle between Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike. The Senate is set to begin screening of 7 ministerial nominees recently announced by President Bola Tinubu. This follows the earlier request to the Senate by the President to confirm the new ministerial nominees. The President had hours after their nomination last week written to the upper chamber asking the lawmakers to consider and confirm the 7 nominees for appointment as ministers. They include Nentamwe Yilwada for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Mahamadou Dingyadi for Labor and Employment, Bianca Odumego Ojukwu for State Foreign Affairs, and Jumoke Oduwole for Industry, Trade and Investment. Others are E.D. Meha, Livestock Development, Yusuf Atta, State Housing and Urban Development, and Suwaiba Ahmed for State Education. Recall that the President sacked 5 of his ministers, redeployed 10, and appointed 7 others. The national president of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, Mohammed Ibrahim, says its members and those of the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, NASU, embarked on the nationwide strike because they have been pushed to the wall. Ibrahim, who said this during a television program, insisted that the two groups eventually decided to embark on the strike as a last resort, after several attempts and meetings with government officials to resolve the challenges had hit the rocks. The group commenced an indefinite nationwide strike within campuses of public universities to demand the immediate release of their 4 months withheld salaries. He said although the newly appointed Minister of Education had reached out to him for discussion, members of the groups will not back down from the strike until payments are made. You are listening to the World News on Today95.1 FM, Voice of the People. After the break, more news, foreign and sports stories. Do stay with us.
Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. Former state, local government area and ward executive members of the Action People's Party, APP, in Rivers State have congratulated the newly elected 22 APP executives, chairman and their vice. The former state, LGA and wards executive members of APP also congratulated the 314 elected ward councillors in the just concluded Rivers State LGA election on the 5th of October 2024. In a statement signed by the National Vice Chairman, South, former Rivers State Chairman, APP, Atata Kenneth, the group passed the vote of confidence on the Chairman of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, retired Justice Adolphus Enebeli, for conducting a peaceful and credible election in this state. They noted that it was the first time more than 5 different political parties emerged victorious in an LGA election in Rivers State. The statement also passed a vote of confidence on Governor Siminalayi Fubara for providing a level playing field for all participating political parties in Rivers State and conducting the most peaceful, free, fair and credible LGA election in the state. They also thanked Rivers people for coming out en masse to vote for APP candidates during the LGA election. They especially commended and thanked the chairman of APP in Rivers State, Sonny Nwokekoro, and his exco for the victory recorded by the APP under their watch in the last LGA election, which they said has made the party take over the state. The Rivers State Commissioner for Local Government Affairs, Chief Charles Bekay, has attributed the political successes recorded in Emowa local government area to the membership of Chief Fubara Ohaka into Simplified Family in the LGA. Chief Bekay, who spoke during the birthday celebration of Fubara Ohaka at his Spotaka residence, described him as a well-experienced individual who can achieve his targets with his God-given talent and efforts. The State Commissioner for Local Government Affairs, while narrating how he met Fubara Ohaka and how much success the Simplified Family has achieved since his membership into the fold, insisted that Ohaka is someone who can be trusted without any fear of disappointment. Chief Bekay said the philanthropic nature of Chief Fubara Ohaka, especially his support for the youths and needy, has earned him so much support from Rivers people and beyond, and encouraged him to continue with his good record for a greater reward. Chief Charles Bekay further urged members of the public to emulate the lifestyle of Chief Ohaka, insisting that he is a good man loved by the people.
It is only a man who has separated himself and have connect with the Almighty that this transformation can come as a result. Integrity is what the man says in the morning, a man maintains and keeps it. So, and the multitude of people I saw here today is your good work. Character draws a man to those who will channel, help, decide, or add to what he has already made of himself. The solidarity we have come to show here today is the love we have towards you. You see, there are some people you meet for years, for a long time. The way they take you will determine what you do for them. But I've known Fumura for, a personal interaction for just a short period of time. I don't think it's up to 1 year. But what Fumura has done, I can never be any.
Also speaking, a former commissioner for housing, Elder Chinedu Tasie, who doubles as the leader of Simplified Movement in Iba Ward 6, while narrating how it was difficult for him to win elections when Chief Fubar Ohaka was on the opposing side in politics, thanked God for bringing them together.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Radio has never been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Radio has never been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people. This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News.
We apologize for that breaking transmission. The River State Commissioner for Local Government Affairs, Chief Charles B.K., has attributed the political successes recorded in Emoa local government area to the membership of Chief Fubara Ohaka into the simplified family in the LGA. Chief B.K., who spoke during the birthday celebration of Fubara Ohaka at his Spoke residence, described him as a well-experienced individual who can achieve his targets with his God-given talent and efforts. The State Commissioner for Local Government Affairs, while narrating how he met Fubara Ohaka and how much success the simplified family has achieved since his membership into the fold, insisted that Ohaka is someone who can be trusted without any fear of disappointment. Chief Beke said the philanthropic nature of Chief Fubara Ohaka, especially his support for the youth and needy, has earned him so much support from Rivers people and beyond, and encouraged him to continue with his good record for a greater reward. Chief Charles Bekay further urged members of the public to emulate the lifestyle of Chief Ohaka, insisting that he is a good man loved by people.
It is only a man who has separated himself and have connect with the Almighty that this transformation can come as it is. Integrity is what the man says in the morning, a man maintains and keep it. So, Fuba and the multitude of people I saw here today is your good work. Character draws a man to those who will channel, help, decide, or add to what he has already made of himself. The solidarity we have come to show here today is the love we have towards you. You see, there are some people you meet for years, for a long time. The way they take you will determine what you do for them. But I've known Fubara for, a personal interaction for just a short period of time. I don't think it's up to 1 year. But what Fubara has done, I can never be any.
Also speaking, former Commissioner for Housing, Elder Chinedu Chasi, who doubles as the leader of Simplified Movement in Iba Ward 6, while narrating how it was difficult for him to win elections when Chief Fubara Ohaka was on the opposing side in politics, thanked God for bringing them together.
Today, we are the first of leaders that are here to dine with you. And we thank God for this mercy. And we can only say that God, who has seen you till today, who has added this new life, new year to you, will continue to preserve you so that you can achieve those things which you want to have or which you have already for the humanity. You are the chief among the young boys, and when your name is mentioned, everybody within this category bows. I have always prayed to work with you. Before this time, we are working on the opposite side with you, and things have not been easy. When there are elections, I have nightmares. But today, we are working with you.
In his speech, Chief Fubara Ohaka thanked God for his life and the people for celebrating him, pledging never to disappoint them.
I want to especially thank you today. Leader, I want to thank you. All 14 ward councillors are here. I will never withdraw my loyalty to two of you. I will never disappoint two of you. Wherever I'm going now, call me back, I will answer. God will thank you. We bless. Today you came here safely, we go back safely. God bless all of you.
Today FM's correspondent reports that the birthday celebration of Chief Fubara Ohaka began with his visit to an orphanage home where he donated food items, cash, and also a Thanksgiving service at Redeemed Christian Church of God before the reception at his residence. The administrator of the Presidential Amnesty Program Office, PAP, Dennis Bruto Otwaru, has approved the elevation of Chief Dobra Kemini Godswill as the acting new head of Peace, Building and Stakeholders Engagement. The Niger Delta Youth for Positive Change, NDYPC, in a statement said the development was in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu for the people of the Niger Delta and the need for structural adjustments within the Presidential Amnesty Program Office. The statement, which also said the adjustment takes immediate effect, urged the newly appointed head of Peace Building to collaborate with the PAP administrator in delivering his visionary administrative framework to improving the lives of the beneficiaries of the program and the Niger Delta region at large. The group described the move as a proactive step by the PAP administrator, Dennis Bruto Otwaru, in setting a pace for robust transformation of beneficiaries and the Niger Delta. On the foreign scene, North Korea has sent 10,000 troops to train in Russia amid NATO warning of a dangerous expansion of the Ukraine war. Russia and North Korea have boosted their political and military allies in the course of the conflict, but the deployment of Pyongyang's troops into combat against Kyiv's forces would mark a significant escalation. According to the Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary, Sabrina Singh, the number of North Korean troops in Russia could grow further. U.S. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby previously put the number of North Korean troops in Russia at more than 3,000 on October 23, warning that they would become legitimate military targets if they fight against Ukraine. Meanwhile, NATO chief Mark Rutte has decried the deployment of North Korean troops to bolster Russia's war efforts in Ukraine as a dangerous expansion of the conflict that signaled Vladimir Putin's growing desperation. In sports, Manchester United Football Club has sacked its manager Erik ten Hag following the club's lackluster start to the season. United dropped to a lowly 14th in the table after suffering their fourth defeat in 9 league games at West Ham over the weekend and has won only one of its last 8 games in all competitions. Eric was appointed in April 2022 and led the club to 2 domestic trophies, winning the Carabao Cup in 2023 and the FA Cup in 2024. United disclosed that former striker Rod van Nistelrooy, who returned to the club as Ten Hag's assistant in July, would now serve as interim manager whilst a permanent head coach is recruited. The 54-year-old's position had been repeatedly called into question after United co-owner Jim Ratcliffe kept the former Ajax boss on board following an internal review of his position at the end of last season after an 8th-place Premier League finish. To end the news, here is a summary of the major stories. The Nigerian Medical Association in Rivers State has urged government at all levels to address growing brain drain crisis. Residents of Ngeni Kingdom in Ahodo West LGA of Rivers State have expressed fears of a continued flooding in the area. We told you that the Nigeria Senate is set to begin screening of 7 ministerial nominees by President Bola Tinubu. And on the foreign scene, you heard that North Korea has sent 10,000 troops to train in Russia amid NATO warning of a dangerous expansion of the Ukraine war. Stella Sasongo Okori edited the news. For comments and inquiries, please call 0818-389-2850 or send your emails to news@todayfmlive.com. You can also read our stories on www.todayfmlive.com. I am Amaka Felix. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Radio has never been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Radio has never been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Say no to the ordinary. Embrace the extraordinary, because we are the voice of the people. Voice of the people. Today 95.1 FM.
Today 95.1 FM.
What's a successful business without sales? And what is sales without an audience? Well, do you know that you can reach 8 million listeners across 6 states in 2 geopolitical zones all at once? How? With Today 95.1 FM, you can get millions of people to know about your business. And what does that mean to you? More sales. Call 081-389-2850 now for more information.
Officer, take. Officer, give me number. No time. Ma dey match am, they go.
What? You bribing the officer of the law? You under arrest. Let me see your papers. You can go. They're in order. Drive safe, okay?
I don't understand though. No be the same country again. Officer reject bribe. They arrest me yesterday. Yesterday, I go do my papers. See as I pass now. I pass without fear. You too, make you do wetin dey right. For we country to better, e dey for we hand. If you like, do like say you no hear am. To give or to take bribe na offense.
Una don hear am, abi? You hear am too, abi? you hear am. You hear am well. They themselves, they hear am. They hear am. Now the voice of the people. Now him bring this message give una. Today 95.1 FM. Now we be the voice of the people.
Don't get it mixed up. You are listening to Today 95.1 FM, your premium talk, news, and sports station in Port Harcourt. We are the voice of the people.
Unleash the power of the airwaves with the ultimate radio experience. Tune in to Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people. Don't just listen, immerse yourself.
That is 100% true.
Some people will carry human head in their boots and they will not search them because they are collecting bribe.
When they go collect salary, then go say government need to pay them bribe. All these taxi drivers safe. They don't even get papers. Even driver's license safe, they no get.
Then you back there. Hold on there.
Their cars are in bad shape, very, very bad shape. They have no ethics of driving. That is why they will continue to bribe so that they can have their way.
I will shoot you down. I will shoot you. Headlight, you no get. Side mirror, you no get. Motorway to carry animal. Now you take put for road to carry human being. You don't even wind the motor when rain they fall. You no get conscience at all. Take, you be number 15. You be number 5. More than no forget on number.
Let's allow them to do their job.
Do not obstruct justice by giving or taking bribe. Avail yourself a check. Even you, Oga driver, stop reckless driving and always update your papers. This information
is brought to you by Today 95.1 FM,
voice of the people.
95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
This is Today 95.1 FM Port Harcourt, voice of the people. It is time again for a rundown of the foreign news stories that made the headlines on the world today. I am Amaka Felix. In the headlines, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi proposes truce in Gaza and hosted exchange in effort for ceasefire. Bodies of 16 migrants recovered off Tunisia's eastern coast. Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei urges world leaders to fight against Israel's war crimes, and Britain's ruling Labour Party suspends Member of Parliament over assault. Details in a bit. The bodies of 16 migrants and refugees have been recovered by Tunisia's Coast Guard off the country's eastern coast, the National Guard says. The latest migrant boat disaster in the Mediterranean. A senior official in the National Guard, Hossein Jababli, told newsmen that the bodies were found over the weekend and today, and that the victims have not been identified because their bodies had decomposed. Jababli noted that the bodies were found in 3 different areas in Mahdia, one of Tunisia's hotspots for irregular migration. Tunisia and neighboring Libya have become key departure points for migrants and refugees, often from other African countries. Last month, at least 15 Tunisian people died, including 3 infants, and 10 others went missing after their boats sank off the Tunisian coast at Djerba as they sought to cross the Mediterranean to Europe. Botswana, known as one of Africa's longest-standing democracy, is set to conduct its general election on October 30, as announced by President Mokgweetsi Masisi. Masisi aims to secure a second and final term following the endorsement of his candidacy by his ruling party. This election will determine the composition of parliament and the lawmakers who will subsequently choose the president. It takes place during a period of economic uncertainty for a country that heavily depends on diamond mining. Botswana, the world's second largest diamond producer after Russia, has been the source of the largest rough gems discovered in the last 10 years. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has proposed a 2-day truce in Gaza and limited hostage exchange aimed at securing a complete ceasefire after more than a year of war between Israel and Hamas. The proposal includes exchanging 4 Israeli hostages held in Gaza for Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails and will be followed by more negotiations within 10 days. Al-Sisi, however, did not say whether the plan had been formally presented to either Israel or Hamas. His intervention came with Israel continuing to pound the Palestinian territory, while also fighting a war against Hezbollah in Lebanon and having just launched airstrikes on its major foe, Iran. The strikes, which make it the second time Israel has retaliated against Iranian ballistic missile attacks, triggered global calls for restraint. Meanwhile, the United Nations Security Council is expected to meet today at Iran's request, with Tehran calling for the body to condemn the strikes that killed 4 soldiers. This is after President Masoud Pezeshkian told his cabinet Iran did not want war, but would deliver an appropriate response. The $1.8 billion program secured from the IMF in 2023 is now on hold, and scheduled payment of 338 billion CFA francs this year has been postponed to 2025. According to Finance Minister Cheikh Diba, a restructuring of the agreement is now required, stating that the government is aiming for a new agreement by the first quarter of 2025 at the latest. The Minister of Finance, Cheikh Diba, announced during the annual IMF meetings in Washington that Senegal's program with the international institution needs to be revised, following an audit that revealed a higher debt and budget deficit than previously reported. Mr. Diba, quoted by Bloomberg, stated that the current program needs to be updated. The budget deficit is actually over 10% of GDP, nearly double the initially reported 5.5%. Away from Africa to the rest of the world, the former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte confirmed a death squad existed under his watch to control crime when he was Davao City mayor, but gave conflicting accounts of its makeup, first saying it was run by police officers, then by gangsters. When Mr. Duterte was president, 2 men, including a former policeman, had testified before the Senate that they were part of an alleged hit squad in Davao. They said killed Mr. Duterte's behest. But legislators at the time found no proof, and Duterte's aides dismissed the claims as fabrication. Appearing on October 27 before a Senate inquiry into his campaign against illegal drugs, Mr. Duterte identified commanders of the death squad, which he said included former National Police Chief turned Senator Ronaldo Rosa, who was also present at the hearing. He said he had never ordered the death squad to kill defenseless suspects, but did tell the group to encourage criminals to fight back, and when they fought back, kill them, so my problems in the city will be solved. But the 79-year-old Mr. Duterte later said gangsters, not police, made up his death squad, adding to the ambiguity surrounding the squad's operations. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Spanish counterpart Pedro Sanchez have inaugurated India's first private military aircraft plant, boasting New Delhi's ambitions of growing local manufacturing in its defense and aerospace industries. Sanchez was welcomed to India with a flower-filled open-top parade alongside Modi, as Madrid seeks to boost investment in the world's fifth-largest economy. It is the first visit by a Spanish premier to India in 18 years. Modi visited Spain in 2017 and held talks with Sanchez at the G20 summits in 2018 and 2021. India's Ministry of Defense has agreed to a $2.5 billion deal for 56 cargo and troop carrying C-295 aircraft from Airbus Defence and Space. While 16 will be assembled in Seville in Spain with the first deliveries, 40 will be built in India. Russia has shot down 51 Ukrainian drones above its regions, including the border. Moscow's defense ministry in a statement said 18 were intercepted in the Tambov region from the Ukrainian border and 16 in the area of the border town Belgorod. It said others were shot down in the regions of Oryol, Bryansk, Lipetsk, and Voronezh. One was said to have been intercepted in the Kursk region, where Ukrainian troops have been conducting a ground offensive since August and control several hundred square kilometers of Russian territory. Meanwhile, Kyiv claims that the strikes, which often target energy infrastructure, are in response to Russian bombardment of Ukrainian territory. The United Kingdom has agreed to hold talks about its historical involvement in the slave trade in a joint statement with other Commonwealth leaders in Samoa, but continued to rule out the prospect of financial reparations. The 55 Commonwealth nations agreed to play an active role in holding conversations to address the harms, particularly women and girls, who suffered disproportionately from these appalling tragedies in the history of humanity in the communique published today. Despite the issue not being on the formal agenda for the summit, a group of Caribbean nations asked European countries to compensate them for their slavery legacy. A bilateral group report for the University of the West Indies and the American Society of International Law last year concluded the UK should pay 14 Caribbean nations as much as $24 trillion in reparations. President Joe Biden slammed Elon Musk for hypocrisy on immigration after a published report that the Tesla CEO once worked illegally in the United States. The South Africa-born Musk, however, denies the allegation. The Washington Post reported that Musk even worked illegally in the country while on a student visa. The newspaper, citing company documents, former business associates and court documents, confirmed that Musk arrived in Palo Alto, California in 1995 for a graduate program at Stanford University, but never enrolled in courses, working instead on his startup. Musk wrote on X in reply to a video post of Biden's comments that he was in fact allowed to work in the U.S., adding that Biden's puppet was lying. Britain's ruling Labour Party has suspended one of its MPs after a footage emerged appearing to show him punching a man to the ground and then continuing to attack him. The party said the lawmaker, Mike Amesbury, had been suspended pending an investigation after the Mail Online published the video of the violent incident. The video appeared to show the 55-year-old MP, who represents a parliamentary seat in northwest England, repeatedly hitting another man. Cheshire Police said officers had been called to reports of an attack in the town of Frodsham and that further inquiries were ongoing. Meanwhile, a spokesman for the Labour Party, which took power in Britain in July, said Amesbury has been assisting Cheshire Police with the inquiries following the incident. The social platform X has suspended a new account created on behalf of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei that posted messages in Hebrew. The account was suspended early today with a brief note appended to it saying X suspends accounts which violates the X rules, but it wasn't immediately clear what the violation was. The Elon Musk-owned social media company did not respond to a request for comment from news agency The Associated Press. The move came after Israel openly attacked Iran for the first time this weekend. Khamenei said in a speech over the weekend that Israel's strikes in response to Iran's ballistic missile attack this month should not be exaggerated nor downplayed, while stopping short of calling for retaliation. Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei has called on world leaders to stand against Israel's war crimes. Khamenei, who made the call, his first since Israel's missile attack on Iran last week, insisted that the actions of the Zionist regime in Gaza and Lebanon were among the most horrific war crimes. He also called for the formation of a global political, economic and military coalition against what he described as the evil regime currently perpetrating the most horrific war crimes. Khamenei, while admitting that Israel made the wrong move when it attacked Iran nights ago, killing at least 4 people, vowed that the Iranian military would respond to the missile strike. Khamenei's comments come as Vice President Mohammad Reza Aref insists that Israel would receive an appropriate response. Lebanon's health ministry has accused Israel of attacking the southern city of Tyre, killing at least 5 people and wounding 10 others. A statement from the ministry noted that the incident happened after Israel struck a building in the center of the coastal city. This comes after Tyre, an ancient coastal city which boasts a UNESCO World Heritage Site, was subjected to heavy Israeli strikes last week, leaving swaths of the center in ruins. Israel last month escalated airstrikes on Hezbollah strongholds and sent ground forces into Lebanon, following a year of cross-border exchanges of fire with the Iran-backed group over the Gaza war. That story from Lebanon concludes tonight's edition of The World Today, as produced by Odinakachi Celestine of the News Department. But before we go, here's a summary of the stories that made the headline. We told you that Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi proposed truce in Gaza and hostage exchange in effort for ceasefire. You heard that bodies of 16 migrants were recovered off Tunisia's eastern coast. We also told you that Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, has urged world leaders to fight against Israel's war crimes. Finally, Britain's ruling Labour Party suspends Member of Parliament over assault. Till same time tomorrow, to have a lovely evening and thank you for listening.
Say no to the ordinary. Embrace the extraordinary, because we are the voice of the people. Voice of the people. Today, 95.1 FM.
Today, 95.1 FM.
What's a successful business without sales? And what is sales without an audience? Well, do you know that you can reach 8 million listeners across 6 states in 2 geopolitical zones all at once? How? With Today 95.1 FM, you can get millions of people to know about your business. And what does that mean to you? More sales. Call 081-389-2850 now for more information.
Officer, take. Officer, give me number. No time. Ma, they match am. They go.
What? You driving the officer of the law? You under arrest. Let me see your papers. You can go. They're in order. Drive safe, okay?
I don't understand though. No be the same country again. Officer reject bribe. They arrest me yesterday. That yesterday, I go do my papers. See as I pass now. I pass without fear. You too, make you do wetin dey right. For we country to better, e dey for we hand. If you like, do like say you no hear am. To give or to take bribe na offense.
Una don hear am, abi? You hear am too, abi? You hear am well. They themselves, they hear am. Now the voice of the people. Now him bring this message give una. Today 95.1 FM. Now we be the voice of the people.
Don't get it mixed up. You are listening to Today 95.1 FM, your premium talk, news, and sports station in Port Harcourt. We are the voice of the people.
Unleash the power of the airwaves with the ultimate radio experience. Tune in to Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people. Don't just listen, immerse yourself.
That is 100% true.
Say no to the ordinary. Embrace the extraordinary, because we are the voice of the people. Today 95.1 FM.
Today 95.1 FM.